Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another session on Achievers Talk. And our today's guest is very different, actually. So, not only he has cracked the IPM 80 indoor examination and has been selected to IIM Indore, but our guest today is also a chess player who has represented India at the international level. And I think your first trophy came to you when you were 7 years of age, if I'm not
Yes,
wrong.
yes,
Yeah,
seven.
so I would not be wrong if I call Om a child prodigy. Om Kharola he is, and he's a child prodigy. And I think this journey, this interaction is going to be very, very interesting because of all the journeys we have so far spoken about, it was more into academics, but Om having that background of sports, managing that time, I think for him it was three-way pressure, not just class 12, but he has to manage his interest as well along with this preparation. I think this conversation is going to be very, very interesting. So first of all, let me welcome Om and congratulations, Om, and you have cracked the IPM 80 indoor examination. You have already been selected to IIM Indore, and I'm sure you are looking forward to go to the college. So how does it feel now after all the hard work which has paid off? Now, how does it feel now?
It feels very nice. It feels great, especially because I was not expecting a call from IIM Indore because you know that there's a very small, very low selection ratio. So I was very worried, but now I feel slightly relieved and relaxed.
Okay, but that's the case with every examination. So
Yeah, I
so
suppose
when
so.
you have some more seats, then there are lakhs of students appearing for the examination. So the
Yeah,
selection ratios, unfortunately, in our country will always be low, given the kind
yeah.
of population we have actually. Okay, so that's great that you are really happy for that. So you uh, are from commerce with mathematics background. So I'm sure
Yes.
you were very comfortable with the mathematics part. But this year's the biggest surprise, while we'll talk about the change in the pattern, but one of the biggest surprises, if you look at the cutoff, has been the verbal section. For the first time, it breached 100 marks actually. So the cutoff this
Yeah,
year for the
yeah.
verbal section, and that too, the sectional was 112. So, how much effort did you put on the verbal section, and what was your strategy for this section?
To be very honest, I was happy that the weightage for English was more this time because it's always been my stronger subject. I mean, I've always been good at math, but English is something that I've felt very comfortable in. I didn't actually have to put in a lot of effort for English because it just comes kind of naturally to me because I watch a lot of movies and I read a lot of novels and short stories. So I think I'm very proficient in English. So
Okay.
it wasn't that hard. Yeah.
I think while I spoke about the three-way pressure, but I think you mentioned you read novels as well, and
Yeah.
you watch English movies. इतना time manage कैसे करते थे with your class 12 curriculum, chess, reading novels, watching movies, and then preparing for the IPM examination? How did you man? I think this is going to be interesting.
So time, I think it's not that much of a problem if you're very focused every time you start studying. So when I'm studying, I don't look at my phone or I don't talk to people. Right? When I'm studying, I don't sit for long hours. But if I'm sitting for 2 hours, I'll put in my 100%. Always I'll put in my all to actually study. And when I'm resting, I won't think about studying. So I think it's very important to separate oneself from all these things because if you don't rest, if you don't do things that interest you, you'll eventually just burn out and you won't be able to focus on your studies. So I think it's very important. It's actually helpful to have hobbies and to actually do things that are not academic in nature.
Yeah, that's why it is said all academics, no play makes you a dull person, actually.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah,
very, very important. Extracurriculars, hobbies, interests, they are very,
yeah,
very important. And I think if you look at the I'm interview now that you have faced, I think they put emphasis on that apart from scholastic achievements. They
yeah.
want you to talk about the extracurricular. I think that's very, very important, anyways. So, how would you when you are in class 12, so that's a time when there's a lot of pressure about the board examinations. And last year you guys had two board examinations basically. So
Yeah,
it went down to, so the pressure was not just once, it was double actually. So
yeah.
how did you maintain that balance between IPM preparation and your class 12 curriculum along with the boards?
So at first, when the board exams were about to begin, I was not focusing that much on IPM. I was putting in maybe 1 hour a day for IPM studies, and the rest I was studying for board exams. And as soon as board exams got over, I rested for like a week or something, and then I started studying for IPM more seriously. So I was solving two or three mock tests in one day, and actually it took me more time to analyze those mocks than to actually solve them. So if it was a 2 hour mock, it would take me 3 hours to just analyze and see what I got wrong. So I think that was helpful.
Yeah, that's how it works. I think analysis is one of the most important aspects. You should look
Yeah.
forward to your weaknesses and work on improving upon them actually. So that's very, very important actually. One of the biggest, and I've been asking this all the achievers actually. So because sometimes surprises are there actually, and examinations in whatever entrances we talk about, we generally come across one surprise or the other. And the surprise this year with I'm in law paper was the change in the structure itself during the
Yeah.
no prior announcement actually. So the moment you started your paper at 10 a.m., I'm sure you must have been taken by surprise by opening the first section. You would have seen
Yeah.
that the number of questions have suddenly got reduced. So how did you uh, manage the surprise at that point of time?
I think for the first 30 seconds, I was like, what is happening? Why do there not 20 questions here? And I was like worried and everything. But I calmed down and I thought, Ki, this is the same for everyone. So might as well just do what I can do. And if there's a problem, then everyone is facing the same thing basically. So yeah,
Yeah, so
I
it's
think,
like everyone's problem. So why I should be the only one worried actually?
yeah. In fact, I saw there were 15 questions, right? And when I got to the 15th question, I solved it in the rough sheet. And when I was going to type the answer, the time ran out. So even though I solved the question, I wasn't able to type the answer because I think I kind of got worried in the first 30 seconds. So to anyone who's actually going to give the exam now, I'd say don't get worried and don't think about all of that. Just focus on what you can solve, and it's fine. It's the same for everyone.
Yeah, so instead instead of panicking, I think it's better to continue with and
Yeah,
keep your nerves in control. That's very, very important actually.
yeah,
So yeah, wonderful. In fact, that's a wonderful thought. So talking about your interest, basically the chess. So now that you'll be moving into I'm indoor, and the curriculum is quite rigorous, you know about that
yeah.
actually. So how do you plan to continue with your interest along with the IPM program? Any thoughts you have
I,
already given?
I don't know actually what I'm going to do, but I think I'll continue it as a hobby. I'll play it in vacations and some maybe events that are college level, but not very seriously as far as I think right now.
Okay, so I think you have that clarity of, already with you.
Yeah.
Okay, so mm, any specific thoughts you would like to share with the students who are going to take up the examination next year? What would be your word of advice for them?
I think the most important thing is to solve mock tests because they're very helpful in understanding the type of questions that come and the time that you'll have to solve these questions in, and also it gives you an idea what you're going to face there. So if you do mock tests, I think you won't be surprised when you get there, and you won't be unprepared when you get there. And also it's very important because they'll help you understand what your weak points are. So I think for me mock test was the single most important thing, the most important element of my preparation, and I think it should be the same for everyone because mock test can be very very helpful.
One more question I have. So you
Yeah,
mentioned that you before the board examination you were studying for 1 hour as far as IPM is
yeah,
concerned.
yeah.
So, would you pick up both these subjects during the 1 hour prep, or you would pick one topic from one subject on a day, and next day probably the another subject? That's how it
No,
used
I
to be.
was I was not putting in that much effort for English, like I said, and I think math was harder for me because a lot of the students that I was competing against, they were preparing for JEE, and so it can get a little bit hard because I was not studying for any other entrance exam, so I was not preparing for English before my board exams, only for mathematics, and only at that point only the topics that I was uncomfortable in, not all the topics.
Okay, so which means English you are really comfortable with, so because your fundamentals were clear. Otherwise, somebody will have to definitely put that effort for English as well. So I think that is the clarity which students should have.
Yeah.
So okay, guys, that's Om Kharola, and chess champion, and he has made it to the one of the best IPM programs at IIM Indore. Actually, the first one to start with the program, and so he'll be joining IIM Indore very soon. I think first week of September. Om,
Yeah.
we wish you all the best on behalf of the entire SEAL family, and thank you for joining us today for this interaction. I'm sure the junior students, I would prefer calling them junior, so will be appearing for the paper next year. I'm sure they are going to get benefited by your interview today, and I'm sure they would be very keen to watch this. But again, once again, congratulations for your achievement and for all your future endeavors. All the best.
Thank you, sir.